not a real thing. EDM is not a real thing. EDM is not a real thing. EDM is not a real thing.
I don't know which came first, shitty rave music or the drugs.
You have technicians here making noise. No one is a musician. They are not artists because nobody can play the guitar.
Instead of hearing music, you hear this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fake Music Only podcast, the best podcast online for discussing all things EDM. I'm your host, Cole, aka the Big Finicheti, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, IMG.
Hello, everyone.
And today, if all things go well, this will be the first back-to-back episode of Fake Music Only released, yeah. Hopefully these will be released a day apart from each other. If not, then this is awkward.
Let's just hope my computer doesn't die.
Exactly. But, yeah, but, if not, just disregard that. Just treat it like a normal episode. This is episode 10.5, where we're discussing all of the projects that we were going to talk about on the podcast, but due to episode delays or complications, one thing or another, we wound up not being able to talk about them. So here we are. We got a list. If you want to keep up with us, we'll have links to everything in the description if you want to listen along with us. But without further ado, we have, yet again, quite a lot of material to dive into here.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got, well, last time we basically had 4 LPs, four full lengths. Now we've only got 3, but one of them's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So... So dear God, I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna go. I usually tell you to pick, and this time I'm just gonna go right in the middle and say Orbital. Monsters Exist.
Yeah.
This is one I was pretty curious to listen to, because I'm not sure how many people that watch us also watch the Wonky Angle, who's an electronic music reviewer on YouTube. Where's Naughty Step, who is on the show, he focuses on the more modern, dark electronic music genres. The Wonky Angle mostly goes by like older bands, like from the 90s, and then kind of what they're putting out today in their old discographies and stuff like that. Definitely go check him out. But his favorite band of all time is Orbital. So I've been kind of meaning to check out their stuff for a while, and it just so happens that they put out this new full-length album for the first time in 6 years. So, that was kind of the perfect opportunity. What about you? Have you heard of Orbital before, like this album, or?
No, I don't think I have, honestly. I mean, unless they're vaguely related to the orb, then no.
No,
Then no, I haven't heard. Okay.
That's funny. But yeah, yeah. So I was kind of looking forward to it. You had no idea what it was. In the end, I wasn't really sure what to expect going into this, or what kind of production techniques I was expecting to be used, but overall, even though I don't think this thing is all that cohesive, there's a lot of kind of mixed and kind of different feeling tracks on here. I like most of everything on here. Most of the 9 original tracks, that is. Extended, there's like, let me see. There's something like 18 tracks, I think. 17. Yeah, so there's like a ton of... so from 10 to 17, they're all bonus tracks. And I admit they kind of make the album drag a bit, but in terms of the original 9, I'm a big fan of pretty much everything on here. Were there any standouts for you, or?
I forget what the song's called. I don't have the track list in front of me. I really should, but I don't. But I
can stall.
Yeah, please stall.
Okay. For me, for the most part, the tracks that stood out were the ones that kind of sounded more goofy, I guess. I don't know. They like the more fun sounding tracks. The ones that stood out the most were Hoo Hoo Ha Ha, which, that's I feel I've never said that out loud before. I feel so silly right now. Okay. But yeah, it's got this kind of nice melody with these horn sounds, and it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to listen to. I wouldn't exactly call it, like a masterpiece track or anything, but I'm a big fan of the vibe it puts out. and then also fuck spelled Phuk. Phuk.
You tried.
Um, I mean, I did try. But that one's probably the goofiest track on here. I really don't know how to describe it other than just the word goofy. It's just this kind of funny little thing. It's a house track. A lot of the sounds that are used are really just kind of wonky and strange. And it just comes together and makes for a really fun listen on these two.
Yeah. I think my favorite track honestly has to be the Raid, especially like the samples at the end. But yeah, I definitely appreciate this album for being kind of like. I mean, it is pretty experimental, but it's not like like Aphex Twin level experimental.
It's not exclusive. Like anyone can listen to this thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's melodic and experimental at the same time. I guess is the best way to explain it.
Yeah. And like and even though there are just those fun tracks, and the more experimental ones, I would say my favorite thing on here is probably Tiny Foldable Cities, which was the first single off of it. There's something about the main sound that they use in the melody that's just really kind of like this is the only track on the album I think I'd really call like I describe it as beautiful. It's just kind of, it's not fun to listen to. I get the same feelings listening to this thing as I would like a more of a classic Deadmau5 progressive house track, where I'm just kind of sitting there taking everything in, even though there's not exactly a ton going on. It's just very it's very captivating.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most popular track on the album. So if you don't want to listen to anything else, go check that out. There's a cool video that goes along with it. But yeah, as far as I know, on every streaming service and platform, the only version of this album available is the deluxe version, I think. I might be mistaken, but I think I checked Spotify and Apple Music, and I assume that's the same with iTunes.
Yeah.
So in terms of standard tracks, you have the original 9, and like we said, the material there I think is very strong. The only track I didn't like on there was the 8th one, called The End Is Nigh. And there are these weird vocal clips in there that I can kind of see what they were going for, but they're just kind of uncomfortable to listen to, I guess. They don't really contribute anything that I would consider too meaningful to the track, but maybe I'm just not interpreting them correctly. I don't know. But in terms of just basic listening to it, I wasn't a huge fan. But besides that track, all the original 9 tracks I would say are definitely worth listening to. Whereas the back ones, I wouldn't exactly call anything here too memorable. I thought Kaiju was fine. And I liked A Long Way From Home because of how different it was. It's just a 90-second more acoustic track. So I kind of like that too. But I don't know. After those two, because those were the first 2 bonus tracks, it just kind of felt like the album was overstaying its welcome a bit. Although I did like the remix, like the last track on the album, the remix of Tiny Foldable Cities by Careful. Not that it was all that transformative, but I like the original, so
yeah,
I thought it was fine. So even though really it's just the deluxe version with the bonus tracks on here, I would say I would recommend just listening through the original 9 and then maybe listening through the bonus tracks in a different sitting, so that you can kind of go in with fresh ears and then maybe appreciate them a little bit more than we both did. So yeah, I still need to go back and listen to their older stuff, I think, to maybe get a better perspective on what this album is in relation to their other stuff and what the fans of the band were expecting.
Yeah.
But in terms of just going in blind, looking at the original tracks, good stuff. Good stuff from a well-established band. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably give it somewhere around there.
Hell yeah. There we go.
Yeah, plus or minus a half point.
Yeah, I'd say that. I don't know if I'd give it an 8.5, but we'll see. Maybe a couple more re-listens.
Yeah.
And then okay, so where to go from here? Usually with this stuff, usually it's pretty clear because like, all right, there's the big album out of the way, but we've got 2 left.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, since we're on the topic of older electronic acts, why don't we talk about the Aphex Twin EP?
sure, Collapse. To be honest, in terms of the musical content on this thing, I don't have too much to say besides the fact that it's definitely Aphex Twin.
It is, yeah, it is very definitely Aphex Twin.
Yeah, we talked about the lead single off this thing a long time ago, I think. And the main thing that I have to say about that is the video that goes along with the track that's up on YouTube is absolutely fucking bonkers.
It's great.
Yeah, I watched it again recently. Like, it is the trippiest, most wild effects that I've seen in a music video, I think ever. To be honest, I don't see anything topping that.
I can probably think of a couple. Definitely Come to Daddy. That is fucking weird.
Come to Daddy?
Yeah, it's also by Aphex Twin. It's from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That is just so. I'll have to send you it after we do this.
The only person that can out weird Aphex Twin is
Aphex Twin.
So yeah, so I guess there's that. But yeah, so I haven't seen that one, but just having seen this Aphex Twin music video, there's not too much that I can compare it to. It's fucking out of this world. I can only imagine the render time on that. But yeah, but in terms of the musical content, it's definitely, just kind of, it's IDM. It's good IDM. It's just, I don't know what exactly to say about it. My criticism for this genre doesn't really come all that naturally to me. I can definitely appreciate the complexity of it. It's just, I'm not really sure if it's comparatively good to to a lot of other stuff going for the same thing. But yeah, and also all 4 tracks. They all do different things. They all stand as individual tracks, and you can listen to them. But really, just as an EP, this thing kind of blends together, just as the Collapse EP, the track sort of.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't really know how I feel about it. It's not like a bunch of different reviewers are giving it different scores. Anthony Fantano gave it a high score. The Wonky Angle gave it a lower score. And I kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. It's a weird one for me. So I'm giving it an out of 10.
The thing I see is I listened to Cheetah when it came out because I kind of was getting into Aphex Twin around this time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like Cheetah all that much, and this is honestly leagues better in my opinion than Cheetah. So
wasn't the whole thing with Cheetah that he was using really outdated software or hardware?
It was this really old rare synthesizer, I think, or something like that. I totally forget.
Yeah,
but,
so he was kind of limiting himself when it came to that EP, and a lot of people called it boring because of that. But I don't know. I'm kind of giving him some slack on that one because of what he was going for with it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying this is miles better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. This is way more exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, and since Sypho came out in 2014, a lot of people have been kind of waiting for him to make something, that level again, and Cheetah didn't really fill the gap between then and now all that well. So I think a lot of people are kind of jumping on this project and calling it a masterpiece when really it's just good Aphex Twin. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I want to be clear. Me giving it an out of 10 doesn't mean it's just It just means I don't know what the fuck to think about it yet. But we'll get there at some point. Maybe I'll give an updated score in a future episode. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. So there's Aphex Twin, Collapse EP, done.
Yeah.
In terms of a smooth transition out of this one, really nothing even compares to it on this list.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say jump to the polar opposite, and we're gonna go from this conceptual IDM EP to Ricky Remedy, the Triage EP, which is a 3-track kind of hybrid trap EP released on Dim Mak, Steve Aoki's label. And honestly, my expectations weren't crazy high when I jumped into this thing because A, it's only 3 tracks long, and B, I've heard some Ricky Remedy before, but not a crazy amount from him. I'm not like an avid listener. But honestly, this is a really nice EP. Everything, I think every track on here has something to offer. Road Rage is a great banger because of Bachner's vocals, I think. I think he does a good job on it.
Yeah.
The second track, I think it's Preemie. The vocals from I think it's Yunir Gaines, I think. I don't like them as much, but I like the drop a bit more, so it kind of balances out. And then Diamonds on Me is this really cool take on Bass House with a good trap switch up in the middle. So, you know, so this thing isn't like high art. It's not game changing, but everything on here I think has something to offer. So,
yeah, it's definitely, every track is different, and every track will appeal to at least someone, you know.
If you're into like bass music, that is, I think.
Yeah, well, it's not everyone, but like everyone into bass music.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty surprised to hear him taking on Bass House in Diamonds on Me, but then it went right back to trap, and I was like, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Back into his comfort zone. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking out for Ricky Remedy more. The only place I'd really heard of him before, there must have been a couple collaborations that he was on of artists that I listen to more regularly. I'm sure of it. But mainly it was his remix of Dirty Vibe.
Yeah.
On that one, and I like that a lot, and I like this a lot. So maybe it should be on my radar a bit more. So
Yeah.
Maybe you'll hear more about his projects on this in the future. But until now, go check it out. It's not like a big time investment. It's just it's just like 3 tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. There's another one off the plate. Holy shit, there's so much music.
You guys may not think it, but we are like internally dying doing this episode.
A little bit. There's so many there's so many projects.
We should have delayed so many episodes.
We should have been more on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hopefully episode 20.5 won't even have to be a thing, and we'll just be on top. We'll just be on top of shit more often.
Exactly.
But anyway, so we had Ricky Remedy. That was a bass music EP. Let's just knock out the next one. Ulasile Zweihander? Zweihander? I don't know.
I think it's Zweihander. It sounds more German to me.
Yeah, it does. The spelling seems more German to me. But so you know what, you start. What's your background with Ulasile?
All I know is he's on Disciple. That's about it.
That is definitely that is definitely a fact. That's my opinion too. It's on Disciple. All right, next EP. Okay. Honestly, Ulasile, on and off, like he's an on and off artist for me, because some tracks that he creates wind up just going straight to my favorites playlist. Like the VIP that he did of Human Experience, while short, was a really great track in my opinion. And then he did the production on Cannon Fire for Virus Syndicate, and that was a really good track as well. So and then also his whole Human Experience EP that he released in 2016, I was a fan of. But then you got tracks like Bongo Boy with 12th Planet that I thought, you know, like that's funny. That's a funny concept, but it didn't really do anything. And then also his Embers EP last year didn't do a whole lot for me. So Ulasile is just a very mixed bag. Because when he's doing interesting stuff and it's sound design that I can really appreciate, I'm super into it. But when he's not doing that, there's not a whole lot of substance there because structurally his music isn't all that interesting.
Yeah.
So with this EP, honestly, it's kind of representative of what I think of him as an artist as a whole, in that it's kind of a mixed bag. This is his longest project to date, if I'm not mistaken. It's 7 tracks.
It's not 7, it's 6, I thought.
Is it?
I thought it was 6.
Fucking, I'm checking this right now.
Yeah, do it. I'll stall for you. Pretty much my thoughts on this EP is like, I appreciate the sound design. Like, the sound design is really good, and it's just kind of out there. But the music itself is kind of not the greatest, in my opinion. I've heard better from Disciple, and I don't listen to Disciple often, but I've heard better. So,
Oof.
yeah.
Oh boy, that's a I've heard better out of 10, and it's 6. You were right.
Yeah.
It's 6
Okay.
tracks. But yeah, I mean, like, I get what you mean. Some of the I feel like if every track on here had the type of sound design that some tracks have, like that the best ones have, then this would be a stronger body of work. But as it stands, there's some tracks like Galorm and Defense System that I think are really cool. They're probably the best ones on here. And then Rebel, which is the closing track, is also there's a lot of good stuff going on there. But then you have tracks like Stomp and Weapon System. And Weapon System especially is just really bland. There's not a ton going on that makes it stand out from your, standard rhythm track.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I would say if you've been into Ula style stuff historically, if you're into that weird kind of experimental sound design, you're probably gonna find a few tracks on here, probably Galorm and Defense System, that really appeal to you and are kind of more memorable. But there's definitely some stuff that just kind of blends in. So I appreciate Ula style trying to make kind of a longer project here, but I think it would have worked better if he condensed it down to the 4 strongest tracks, and then maybe just left a Stomp and Weapon System to be kind of a DJ, like DJ tools or something like that. So yeah, so Zweihander, I don't know.
The German thing.
6.5 out of 10. I don't know, maybe 6. The sound design is so cool that I don't think I can really give it a negative review, but it's not the best listening experience, so I don't know. And it's also definitely not for everyone, by a long shot. Not exactly a good entry to bass music either.
Yeah.
Oh, the cover art is really cool. I wanted to
Yeah,
point that
it
out.
is.
I like that. I like that a ton. As a whole, I don't really like the new layout that Disciple's using for their album covers. With just kind of I don't know. I like the one that they were doing on albums like the All Killer No Filler from Dodged and Fusky and like the Throwback EP, like that kind of layout. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't see why they had to change it, but this one is really good. So, good on you, Disciple.
Yeah.
So there we go. Zweihander. I don't fucking know.
The German thing.
The German thing EP. It'd be great if... Now I need to know the actual translation. Okay, so we've got a couple full lengths to talk about. Let's go with Excursions first because this is definitely the longest album on here by a long shot.
Yeah.
At I think an hour and 40 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. So we've got the guy that made Minecraft music, Excursions. I guess I'll start with this. As far as my background with C418 goes, I guess there was a lot, even though I didn't realize it, because I didn't play Minecraft a ton as a kid. In fact, I got more into it the older I got, I guess, because I've never played it seriously. I don't think I ever will play it seriously, but when I need to just kind of chill and relax for like an hour and 90 minutes or so, just start a new world and chill. And I think the music in that game that C418 crafted really aids to that kind of relaxing, kind of more just kind of a spiritual experience that just kind of calms you down as you're just playing it. So even though I didn't realize it was by C418 until I went to look up the CP and saw like Minecraft music in the iTunes store, which was a pretty big shock to me.
You're like gasp.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? This is the guy that calms me down with music? That's awesome. So I went into this thing with kind of high expectations and came out sort of neutral. I don't know. I haven't heard all of his previous albums. I've obviously heard the Minecraft soundtrack just through playing the game. But unless I'm, so I don't know how much ground I have to say this, but it sounds like it's kind of C418 just sort of doing C418, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. Like it's certainly relaxing to listen to. It's just there's not a whole lot of crazy interesting stuff going on or things that make me go wow in this. It's just sort of relaxing background music, if that makes sense.
It's definitely background music for sure. It's good background music, but it's just more background music in my opinion. I mean,
yeah,
hell, I love to just chill and just play ambient music all the time. I probably have played selected ambient works too, like at least 4 or 5 times over.
That's a long fucking album.
That is a long fucking album. In fact, total side note, I made a mix of it. I might publish it soon, so like I don't know.
Yeah, throw it out there.
Go subscribe to my channel. I'll post it someday.
Finally, it took 10.5 episodes, but you finally advertising your YouTube channel. There we go. So yeah, so with this thing, there's not a whole lot that I have to say about individual tracks. Although like my favorite is the longest one on here, which is Thunderbird.
13 minutes.
Yeah, 13 and a half minutes. For me, if you can make it interesting and you don't just loop stuff over and over again, the longer the track, the better.
Yeah.
Like I always go with the extended mix instead of like the radio edit or whatever.
Exactly.
And this is no different. So I don't have too much to say about it besides that. But going off the long tracks thing, holy shit. In the previous episode, which hopefully you saw yesterday, we talked about Mousetrap Level 1 a bit and how Monophobia didn't really stack up to like the big Deadmau5 anthems like 8938, Sephi, Strobe, Stay, Drop the Pop-Tart Edit, stuff like that. Well, literally the day after we recorded that, I went on Reddit and found out that there's an unreleased 16-minute Deadmau5 track called Hit Save. And honestly, I think, and Strobe Circle Jerk is Reddit Strobe's like r/Strobe Circle Jerk is gonna hate me for this. It might be better than Strobe. I don't know. It's really fucking good. Everything from the percussion to every like little individual synth and pluck, it evolves over the course of the song. Like it's as good as progressive house really gets, and it's not even released yet. So if you're listening to this, I'm telling you, if you're into the long Deadmau5 stuff, I would go onto YouTube and find the 16-minute version and download it off here first, because it's probably going to be shorter when it gets released, and then once it's actually released, they might take down that version. So go get it while you can, because it's really good. So that's all I have to say.
I'm very surprised that there isn't like a rule on the internet that if there is something unreleased that gets taken down, someone else version of it or something.
Your voice was cutting a little bit there for me. Could you just repeat that real quick?
Yeah, well, I'm surprised there isn't like a rule of the internet that's like if there's something unreleased that gets taken down, then someone has a copy of it.
That is that is basically an unofficial rule of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, someone's gonna have a copy. It's just it might be harder to get a hand on it because, the only reason people have it is because Deadmau5 played it on stream and people have rips of that. So it's just in low quality. It's not high quality stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Go look for that. Not on X Trill, 'cause it's not there yet. Just go look on YouTube.
Yeah.
And speaking of Dead Mouse, in the next episode, we're probably going to be talking about Mouseville Level 2, which just came out. And
So
yep, woot woot. I haven't listened to it yet, but
same.
it's got that Mr. Bill collaboration on it. It's got a song with lights, I think. I forget the exact title. But yeah, looking forward to that too. So, I'm really glad the C418 discussions turned into a Dead Mouse talk. I give Excursions a ambient out of 10, I guess.
I will agree with that statement.
Hell yeah. Good job, C418. You made ambient music.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. Now, to stay consistent, there's one more album to talk about. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go right to the singles first. And speaking of memes, Scarlett Johansson got on a UKF dubstep with her collaboration with Pete Yorn, Bad Dreams, remixed by Feed Me. So now Scarlett Johansson has a song on UKF dubstep, which I think is the funniest fucking thing in the world. I can't believe it's real. And besides that, her vocals on the track are actually pretty decent. I didn't expect it, but that was one of the parts of the track that really stood out to me, honestly, more than the production that Feed Me did, which is a little surprising because I typically kind of latch on everything Feed Me because he doesn't release a crazy amount these days.
Yeah.
But in terms of the production that he did, I liked it. It feels kind of restrained. Like I feel like there was more he wanted to do, but he knew what he was remixing and where it would be released. So he kind of held back and made something a bit lighter than I feel like he wanted to.
Yeah, he doesn't make much melodic dubstep.
Melodic dubstep, he's really kind of strayed away from. But even some stuff off of his I'm not gonna call like Shell Pet like crazy heavy or anything, but that's like electro house, and it's got more of a heavy vibe, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. This one just feels like he's holding back a little bit, because he knows it's a remix of a Scarlett Johansson song, so I guess he knows who he wants to appeal to here.
Yeah.
So yeah, besides just being a meme, that this thing even exists, Scarlett Johansson on UKF, it's good. A little held back, but I'll take more Feed Me wherever I can get it, because he put out that Existential Crisis EP a while ago, like last year. Then he put out
And then he had an existential crisis.
Exactly. He also has his collab with Foreign Beggars out 24/7, which is good production wise. I don't really like the vocals that much, which is a shame. And then this, so I'll take whatever Feed Me I can get. So if you're looking for more of him to listen to, you may have missed this. Go check it out. It's good.
Yeah.
And then we've got, I would say, 3 massive bangers just in a row that have no rules other than to be bangers. Where do you want to start with this?
I guess let's just start with the Apache track.
Hell yeah. Apache, do it.
I don't know. Apache.
I think it's I think like Apache helicopter, even though it's not the same thing. That's just how I pronounce it. But yeah, this thing is kind of weird actually. And when I say that, I'm mainly referring to the vocals, because they're all like, there's so many effects on these things. It's like the opposite of what Galantis does. Like they put all these kind of poppy, fun distortion vocals on it. Apache just like took the vocals of a random guy and made it sound like a demon. And honestly, I think it's the best part of the track, which is kind of fantastic. They're really catchy, despite being distorted to all hell. And then in terms of like structure, the first drop is kind of boring structurally. Like the sounds being used are kind of cool, but I'm not really a fan of how they were put together. But then the second drop, I think used them a lot more in a more interesting manner. So
Yeah.
So
I like it. It's got a nice kind of hard trap vibe. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I like it because I'm like a big hard trap junkie, so like
This
yeah,
is kind of like a mix between hard trap and hybrid trap.
yeah,
So it's good, I think. Not again, I could do with a more interesting first drop, but the vocals are weird enough and cool enough to make it worth a listen, I'd say. And then just the second drop is good. So yeah, good one
yeah.
from Apache. Who knows? Then we've got Black Tiger, Sex Machine, and Yuki. Not Yuki. I'm so used to saying Yuki, but it's not that. I think this one's pretty great because it's exactly what a collaboration between these guys would sound like in my head, as far as the drops go. Like it's kind of got that rawness of BTSM, than the more kind of bass oriented parts of like Yuki's music. And the build up, even though it's not too long, it's like a minute and 5 or 10 seconds. It does a great job because it does a few different things and then it kind of stops at one point and starts back up. So there's nothing totally outstanding about this track. It's kind of forgettable, to be honest, but in terms of a collaboration between these two guys, I don't really know what else I would ask for. So yeah, good work to these 4 guys. I keep forgetting that BTSM is a trio, I guess.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
It kind of, the drop just kind of, it doesn't have much what's the word I'm looking for here?
Impact? That oomph, you know?
Kind of like, it seems like it's just the same note being repeated over and over again. It's like there's no real melody to it, and it kind of, and not saying that it should have a melody, because you know there's a lot of tracks that don't have. Actually, oh my god, I'm like
it's totally
I don't know where I'm going with this. But like, I don't know, the melody is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
Like that. So
it's definitely a one note. It's definitely a one note track.
yeah.
I don't necessarily mind that because there's a lot of one note tracks out there, and it's more about the sounds being used, I think, for this one. For this one especially, because it's like, what if we took what Yuki sounds like, and then what BTSM makes, and then bam. And then I think the sound that's mainly repeated in the drop is very representative of that. So I don't mind that it's not too melody driven. And also there was a melody in the build up that I thought was pretty good. So I don't know. It was enough to hold me over, but yeah. Overall, I don't really have too much more to say about this thing.
Yeah, I rate it. I don't like it really that much out of 10.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Canniballin. All right. Well, so those are 2 bangers. And now moving on to probably my favorite one of the 3, I think. I think this is the shortest track that the shortest EDM track that I've ever admitted to liking a lot is This Song Scares People by Ghastly. This thing is like 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's very short.
Which is a little ridiculous to me. Like, I can deal with 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes and 20 is kind of pushing it, but this is 2 minutes. So I would not recommend like buying this thing for money, I guess. I don't know, but just because it doesn't really have that much content. But in terms of what it delivers in those 2 minutes, it's very strong. The first 30 seconds are just building up the drop, and then the 2 drops that it fits in are really nice, in my opinion. The first one's just kind of this distorted bass noise that really hits you, and then the second one uses a lot more interesting sounds throughout, a bit more of a complex structure. So yeah, definitely my favorite of the straight up bangers here, despite being like 124 seconds, which is ridiculous. But yeah, would recommend.
Yeah, it's definitely almost too short. In fact, it is too short.
Mm-hmm.
But like, other than that, I think it's a good track. It's a nice banger. I like Ghastly a lot, so I wasn't too disappointed.
Honestly, I think I like this sort of stuff from Ghastly more than I like his bass house,
Yeah,
which is which is a little weird because that's what he's known for and that's what he puts out. But so far, all the stuff like off of like what was it, the mystifying oracle, the mysterious oracle.
Yeah.
Most
something
of
like that.
yeah, most of the stuff that wasn't bass house was the stuff that impressed me the most, except for Fake You Out with Barely Alive. I'm still ticked off about that one because that one would have sounded so cool, but I don't know. That's definitely my least favorite off that cut. But anyway, this one, yeah, big fan.
Yeah.
So one single left. You Don't Even Know Me by Slander and Riot. If you just cut off the last minute, then this would just be a straight up Slander track.
Yeah.
Which I find kind of funny. I was kind of wondering where Riot was the whole time. Then he just totally took over the track in the last minute. But the thing is, even without Riot's part, I think the track holds up really well. Slander chopped the vocals up in this really infectious way that makes the track really way catchier than it would have been without them.
Yeah.
So that helps fill up the first portion of the track, and then Riot's drop switches it up enough to make me want to listen to the whole thing all the way through each time, which is something a lot of like tracks like around 4 minutes and 30 seconds have a hard time with, because if they repeat the drop and it's 4 minutes, then like why would I spend time listening to it? But this definitely does a good job switching it up, I'd say. Also, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only Monster Cat release on here, making this the most. I think this might be the least amount of Monster Cat releases that we've ever had in an episode.
Yeah, because we talk about Monster Cat a lot.
Yeah, we talked about the drop stuff in the last one. Some other stuff, I'm sure, which doesn't come to mind. But yeah. So yeah, what do you think about You Don't Even Know Me?
I like it a lot. In fact, I believe it is on my best of 2018. The melodic dubstep drop is kind of, it's definitely split between Slander and Riot, but like Riot's drop makes up for it like so much. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Are you not a fan of the of what Slander did with the track? Just out of curiosity.
No, I like what Slander did. It's just I like Riot's part better, definitely.
That's totally valid.
Yeah.
Riot's been doing really well on the label just as a whole, and I don't think I've realized that until Overkill came out.
Overkill is a straight up banger.
Honestly, and
we'll talk about that next episode, hopefully.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean it'll be a little late, but we can totally fit that in. Like, holy shit, what a track. So yeah, stay tuned for that later, not in this episode. But yeah, with that, there are these singles all done. And now we've got one more album to talk about. This one's relatively old this year, but it made, honestly, this made such a big splash that I wasn't really expecting it to make. That I have a feeling people are gonna look back on this one like a lot of people look back on Porter Robinson's Worlds. We've got album 1 from San Holo. What do you think? You can start out with this one.
I pretty much love this album entirely. I mean, I'm like a kinda off and San Holo junkie. Like, I mean, I like Victory, like that EP, and then the They Just Haven't Seen It EP / New Sky, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I know the classics of it, and who can forget the classic The Next Episode remix? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's probably.
We Rise has been like an anthem in like my high school friend group for a while now. I mean, like not majorly prevalent, but it's in quite a few of our playlists. That's a classic. But honestly, this album is super different from a lot of his older stuff. As far as I can tell, I haven't kept up crazy well, but it's not like it's a lot more subtle. Like less future based trap city kind of vibes and more just subtle stuff trying to sound pretty, I guess.
Yeah.
I listened through this thing 3 separate times and enjoyed it kind of differently each time.
Yeah.
One time was sort of like I wasn't paying attention too much. I think I was playing Super Smash Bros. Online and just had it on in the background. I thought it was fine, but I didn't really get the hype. The second time I listened to it, it was sad boy hours, and it was also like 2 a.m., so I was really tired. And then I was like, damn, this album's like the best thing ever. And then I listened to it again, just kind of paying attention to it, but I was doing homework at the same time, and I thought it was good. So I thought this album was okay, good, and really good on 3 separate listens. So it's kind of hard for me to figure out what my actual thoughts on this thing are, but I can definitely say some of the things that stand out. The first 2 tracks do a great job. Everything Matters When It Comes to You and also Lift Me From the Ground. Those are great ways. Those are great openers, I guess, to the project. Love Work in Progress, I thought was great as well. And then my favorite off this thing is Forever Free, which is like a house track that goes on for 6 minutes. And I didn't even know that it went on for 6 minutes until like the 3rd or 4th time I listened through it, and I had to check because it doesn't feel like it, because it fills the time just so well. It honestly feels like a 4-minute track or something.
Yeah.
I don't really remember how every track goes on this thing. I'm pretty sure the vocals on one of the tracks didn't really resonate with me. It might have been Brighter Days with Bipolar Sunshine, actually. But I'm not positive. I'll have to go back and check that. So I'm not totally sure what I would rate this thing yet, because it is kind of an anomaly for me. Because I think it really does depend on your mood when you're listening to it, or at least for me it does.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to you on that. Angie, what do you think?
This album is pretty good, but it suffers from what I like to call the mid-album bore. Like, pretty much between tracks 5 and 10 is well, I should say like 6 and 9 because 10 isn't counted and 5 isn't counted. But like between 6 and 9, it's kind of just, and like, I mean, I appreciate Love Work in Progress, but like everything else is kind of blends together, and then you get Forever Free, which is just bop, and then the rest of it just, because it kind of reinvigorates it, I guess. And the last 2 tracks are really good because of it, especially Vestal Avenue. That's a pretty good track. Good outro too. So yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts. It's good, but the middle can just drone on, and that's the part I don't really like about it.
I definitely see what you mean there. And I think that's just what it's like for most albums that kind of have one goal and go for the same thing with every track. Yeah. And I'm not saying that every track goes to the same thing, because I feel like everything definitely has a meaning here, but I mean like the general vibe of every track is sort of similar on this thing.
Yeah.
And it does take kind of a standout like Forever Free to kind of get you back into the work. So what I'm curious is if he'll do like an album 2, or if it'll be a different title for the next one. Honestly,
I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if it's album 2. So
true. And also I think it's kind of funny how artists like the 2 artists, Son Holo and also Com Trues, make this kind of like, I mean not saying they make similar stuff, but they've kind of got meme names, just switching around like celebrity or character's name, and they make more kind of sensitive, interesting stuff. Like it's not like they're like dumb bangers. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of an unlikely person to have something this nice come out of, but earlier I mentioned
Tom
how
Cruise is secretly Tom Cruise, everyone.
that would be fucking amazing. But earlier I said that this thing might be compared to Worlds by Porter Robinson later on, and that might just be because Sanhola retweeted like a ton of praise for this album, but like I kept on hearing producers and fans alike just go head over heels for this thing and say it brought them to tears and X, Y, and Z. And I haven't really heard an album come out of the EDM scene make that sort of impact since Worlds by Porter Robinson. So I'm wondering where this thing will stand a year or two from now. If people will be looking back on it or not. And I'm kind of betting that people will be. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. But
Yeah.
that's where I think it'll go. But with that being said, we're all caught up. We've done it.
Woo!
That's it.
Hopefully we don't have to do this ever again.
Nope. Hopefully never. I'm so. Oh man. But yeah, we talked about every piece of music that we were gonna talk about since the conception of this podcast back in July. So yippee. So I know that was 2 episodes of us just discussing music. We do have a guest lineup for next episode. I don't know if we're gonna reveal it right now.
No, we're not.
No, we're not gonna. Okay, but honestly, I'm equal parts excited and nervous to record that one. Mostly excited. I'm looking forward to it. It should make for a pretty funny episode. So if you're more into our interviews, stick around. They're coming back. Don't worry. They ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next time, we've done it. We've completed our first 10 episodes. See you in the next 10.